Hi, my name is Catherine Kirk. I'm the Executive Director of the Idaho Heritage Trust. Today we are at the top of Lolo Pass and we are walking into the Glade Creek campsite of Lewis and Clark.
I'm John Taylor from Lewiston. I've been a member of the trust since it was formed in 1990, and I've been chairman during most of the 1990s and into the 2000s. We're here at Glade Creek Campground, which is one of the first campgrounds in Idaho by the Lewis Clark expedition, and it's real pretty here. In the early 90s, I think 1993 or 4, I got a call from a buddy of mine who we had gone camping together with our kids all over this part of the country, and it's Chris Carlson, and he worked for a public affairs group called the Gallatin Group, and he called me up and said, "John, Plum Creek, I got a call from Plum Creek, one of our clients, and they're going to log Glade Creek." And I said, "Okay, well, I don't know what Glade Creek is." He said, "Well, let me show you." So we grabbed the kids, came up here, and he said this was the last pristine or undeveloped site of the Lewis Clark expedition between Great Falls and Astoria, Oregon. Every other site on the trail had been either developed or changed, but this was the last one that had been undisturbed. And about that time, Plum Creek, which was used to be part of Burlington Northern, was logging this property extensively, this area. They own most of the property in the area. And they are actually logging within a half a mile of here when we got here in August of 93 or 94.
Dr. Ambrose came to Boise to speak to the Idaho Humanities Council, and after that speaking engagement that evening, we asked him if he would come and have breakfast with the Idaho Heritage Trust the next morning. And so he said he would, so he came and had breakfast with us. And during that time we were talking about the Lewis and Clark Trail. He'd been speaking about his book, Undaunted Courage. And we asked him different things, and it came up about the campgrounds. And he said that this campground, Glade Creek, the Glade Creek Camp, was the most pristine site on the Lewis and Clark Trail that he had investigated while he was writing his book. And he said to the trust, "Why didn't we preserve that site?" And so we talked for quite a while, and then I asked him, I said, well, if we decide to do that, will you come back and help us promote it and raise the funding to buy the site? And he said he would.
And I went in there and said, "Governor Batt, we got this piece of property," and explained to him Plum Creek, and he knew them, and he knew about Glade Creek. His wife was a very avid Undaunted Courage fan and a history buff, and so he was prodded by that. And I said, what we want to do is buy the property. We'll turn it over to the State Parks Department after we get it paid for. And he said, "Well, it sounds like you've got to do it." So he looked at me straight in the eye and he says, you go raise the money, and if you can't raise it, I'll figure out how to get it out of the state government." And so that gave us enough encouragement to go ahead and raise the money. The appraisal came in. We enlisted Steve Ambrose's help on the project the next spring, and then we got a large grant from Paul Allen's foundation for $250,000, and from there it made it easy.
It's important that we protect these sites. This is a beautiful site. There's nothing quite like this in the United States today that goes clear back to 1803. You have to think about that. There are not many unaltered sites that you can walk up to and look at like this. So the trust is happy that we were able to preserve this, not only for the state of Idaho, but for the people of America as a site on the Lewis and Clark Trail.